I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item C, adjustments to the agenda.
There are no formal adjustments to the agenda, but I would ask that the board consider moving the student presentation to follow the approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Thank you.
I heard the second, but I didn't see it.
Jen? Okay. Item D, approval of minutes for November 12, 2019.
I move that we approve the minutes of the November 2019 school board meeting as presented.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? 5-0. And I believe we have a presentation this evening.
Good evening. We're very excited this evening to be here. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing two leadership groups that are taking place at Ellsworth Middle School. They've been established this year. One of them is the Student Ambassadors, and the other is the Friends of Rachel Club. These two groups have taken our school by storm and are doing some really amazing things. So they're here this evening to talk to you about the things that they're doing and the things that they plan to continue to do. And we have many of our staff members who are volunteering their time to lead these groups and facilitate these groups, and they are also here with us this evening as well. So it's my pleasure to introduce these two groups to you tonight. And I'm going to start with the Student Ambassadors. Lori Davis, who couldn't be here this evening, but Jane Stackpole and Melanie Brown and Sarah Domarecki. I'm going to have you all come up. These are our Student Ambassador advisors. So we're going to talk a little bit.
So basically, the Falcon Ambassador groups were students that were nominated by teachers last spring to take on a leadership role in the school. And so letters went out to all of the students that the teachers nominated, and we had 41 apply and want to be part of the ambassador program. So we have a group of 41 students that are involved. So we met this summer. We wanted to have some empowerment of our student body, and so we began our ambassador program as a program to provide leadership skills for our students at EEMS. A lot of the work that we do is behind the scenes rather than to the forefront, although we have some initiatives right now that are going on that we'll talk about in a minute. So we created a mission statement, and our mission statement is, we believe our community to be a more welcoming, kinder, inclusive, safe environment where all of our voices will be heard. So we wanted to make sure that they had student voice. So some of the behind the scenes things that we did is that we worked on creating a spirit week. We had a whole week of different ways we dressed. We had Cowboy Day. It was right during the week of Halloween, so the Halloween piece came into that. So we sponsored the Halloween costume contest, and they also came up with some ideas on how to make our activity nights different. So we took our activity nights, and instead of having just the 5th grade by themselves, now it's 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th. And it seems to be working really well. We've added a bunch of new activities. And so we debrief after every activity night and talk about what we can do to make the next one more successful. So some of our current activities are that we're now sponsoring a door and hallway decorating contest, trying to be festive during the holidays, and so that one's in progress. On the 18th, along with the gift giving day that the students get to choose gifts that the PTF put on, We're gonna have an ugly or beautiful sweater day. So if you can wear your prettiest sweater or your ugliest sweater. And we're gonna have volunteers helping wrap during that day and helping students select gifts. So that's one of our responsibilities. We have student greeters that meet basketball teams as they enter the building, and hopefully we'll do that with all activities like chess club. Show them where to go, tell them that if they need anything, they're available to help them. We sent Christmas cards, or we started that process today, actually, to put with kits for homeless veterans. So we helped do that. We have a major project now called Project Keep Warm, and we're collecting hats, scarves, mittens, socks, and they're going to be given out to those who need a little warmth during the holiday season and after. And we have a super secret project that we're doing next week at our school that I really can't say too much about because it's super secret. So that's about where we're at. We still have a lot of things. There's a lot of ideas out there mulling. Trying to give the students a lot of leadership opportunities. We're hoping that as we go along, we'll be able to train them all in leadership so that they can go back and not only go back to their homerooms, but they can be leaders throughout the school and actually maybe even throughout the community. Maybe some of them will be sitting where you are someday. So that's where we're at.
So in thinking about how we wanted to prepare for tonight, we gave the students some questions. And one of the questions they asked is, what does it mean to them to be a student ambassador? And how has it affected our school? So they're going to talk a little bit about those things tonight. Go ahead. Yeah, let's do it.
I am okay. So, I'll just say I don't have the sheet of paper on me, so I'm just gonna wing this entire thing. The first question was, if I believe correctly. Oh, thank you. What are we doing currently in the school? As Mrs. Stackpole has explained, we're doing a bunch of activities for the school to make the school more livelier and fun, and maybe a better place for students to learn better and still have fun at the school. The second question was, what does it mean to be a student ambassador? To me, it means that for students who are struggling, they can see the student ambassadors as someone they can walk up to and say, I'm struggling, can you help me? Or someone who can help influence some of the school's decisions, like what we should do at activity nights, through the students, that goes to us, then to the teachers. The last question was, how does being a student ambassador help our school? As I said earlier, it makes the school a more fun and livelier place, and as I also said, it helps give a student input to our school. That is all I have to say.
Do you mind telling us your name?
I'm Maddie Springer.
Well, Maddie, thank you so much. That was a wonderful
I'm
presentation.
in 8th grade.
Yeah.
The first question was, what are things student ambassadors are doing at school? I said Project Keep Warm, bringing in new hats, mittens, and socks for less fortunate families to get through the cold months of the year. I also said door decorating, which is a friendly competition between 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, decking the doors and halls with winter/Christmas decorations to show off our holiday spirit. What does it mean to me to be a school ambassador? To me, being a school ambassador means having qualities and showing traits of kindness, welcoming new students, and working with people that I'm not close friends with or I just want to learn a little bit more about. How does being a student ambassador help the school? As we spread these things around our school with posters, announcements, etc., K4 gets involved too. They want to be like us, big kids. Once the community realizes what we're doing, it's not just helping our school, it's helping businesses, restaurants, and other schools near us.
And can we ask your name?
Taylor Ames.
Well, thank you very much, Taylor. That was great.
6.
Which grade are you in?
6.
6.
I'm Natalie Sawyer, and I'm in 8th grade. And the first question, what are the things that student ambassadors are doing at school? like everyone else has already said, all of those things are what we're doing at school, like Project Keep Warm and all of that. What does it mean to be a student ambassador? It means that we all have a voice in what's going on in our school rather than just letting it be up to the teachers or the principal. It's really comforting to know that we're being heard and it's going to be like a better school environment in the future, and it's in a work in progress to be how we'd like things. And it's just great to have like our voice in there. And how does being a student ambassador help our school? It helps our school by just having everyone know that there's always people out there that like know what they're doing, have leadership qualities, and everyone can go to them if they need help. And new kids, we like to greet in new kids so that they don't feel like they're singled out or labeled as the new kid. Like they always have a friend to talk to. We're always welcoming to them, and it just makes our school like seem a little bit more safe and welcoming, you know? And that's what I have to say.
Thank you, guys. So our next group that we have here with us this evening is our Friends of Rachel Club. And I'm going to ask that Brenda Frost and Stacy Wood come up first. These two lovely ladies really took on Rachel's challenge for us and have been kind of the behind-the-scenes organizers to then gather our facilitators, our staff facilitators. Mrs. Martell, come on up. Mrs. Anderson, who couldn't be with us tonight. Ms. Johns. Mrs. Jester, who was also doing double duty at the basketball game. Mr. Downs and Mrs. Hardison also help us. And these people have facilitated our group of 4 kids. So they're going to talk a little bit about what that group is, and then I'm going to ask the 4 kids to come on up.
Well, thank you for giving us this opportunity tonight to be here and to talk with you. So proud of our students. Really amazing group of young people who really want to make a difference and create this culture of kindness in our school. And they've been working really hard to do that through some student-led initiatives that have really been supported by our staff. So it's been fantastic. So in the spirit of giving them a question ahead of time, we did that as well. And so Owen, would you like to start with your first question? So Owen was asked, how are 4 club initiatives impacting the culture of our school?
So my name's Owen Frank. I'm in 8th grade. So my question, I feel that everyone has gotten a lot nicer and they say more kind words in the hallway. But also the atmosphere of our school has gotten a lot more welcoming and kind of like comfortable, I guess. People are feel really accepted when they come. Yeah.
And then we have Donovan, who was asked, how are Rachel's challenges changing relationships between students, teachers, and students with teachers?
My name is Donovan McMullen, and I'm in 6th grade. And I think that students have been nicer to each other a lot more lately, but I haven't really seen any more nice kindness between students and teachers because they've always been nice to each other, and I don't think they can get any more nice. And kids have been helping each other out a lot more, like in studying for a test. And it's not just like helping out their friends, it's people they don't normally hang out with or really know. And I think it's the atmosphere it's the atmosphere of the school. It's welcoming and kind, and it really makes people think, wow, I haven't really been nice this much to this kid. I think I should really apologize for being mean to him. And yeah.
Really well said, Donovan. Thank you. So Marquise, you had the same question, is that correct? So you spoke to how are Rachel's challenges changing relationships between students and students with teachers?
Hi, I'm Marquise Palmer. I'm in 8th grade. And I think that things have been changing between students and teachers because after we saw that video, we just actually considered what we've been doing before, and we thought about our actions, and we went back in and we apologized for the things we did, and we fixed it by upgrading our personalities, I guess. And there are some kids that haven't been able to see what they've done wrong, and there's some kids that we're still trying to get through to, but I feel like for the most part, everyone's just been in a better environment, and it's been helping everyone else treat each other kindly.
Thank you. And Kayla Springer, we asked Kayla, why did you choose to join the 4 Club?
I'm Kayla Springer. I'm in 8th grade, and when we first saw the Rachel's Challenge video, I really took a good long look at myself, and I thought about some of the things that they talked about in that video, and if I'm really doing that or not. And I want to help other people see whether they are doing it, whether they're not, and help them kind of realize how they can be kinder or nicer and help make this school a better place for everybody.
And then, okay, last question. Okay, so Natalie, would you like to join us up here? So the 4th question was, what are your hopes and dreams for the future at EMS and the Ellsworth community in relation to Rachel's Challenge?
My hopes and dreams for the school and the community, I hope that it continues and it's not a program that just drops off and like in the next year and gets forgotten about. I hope it really does continue because it's been very impactful over everyone in the school, and I can say that confidently because after we watched that video, a lot of my classmates were crying, realizing, oh, I haven't been so nice to this person. Oh, I think I should change my attitude, or just wanting to be kinder because Rachel was kinder. And I hope that the community can follow through with that too and join us in that journey.
Thank you, Natalie. And Kayla, sorry. Kayla, you doing the same one? Okay, so Kayla's also doing what are your hopes and dreams?
My biggest hope for this program is that it doesn't just stay within our school for the next year or so, but that it kind of reaches out to our community, to other communities, to other schools, and really helps us as a school, as a town, as a state, become better, kinder people.
Such an incredibly well-spoken group of students. You can see how fortunate we are. We have them in that 4 Club.
My name is Mary Martell. I'm a 5th grade teacher, and I'm one of the facilitators for the 4 program, and I would like to introduce Braylon Bird. She's going to talk about some of the initiatives that we have done in November, and she has some pretty cool information to share with you. Braylon.
My name is Braylon Bird, and we have been working on 2 activities in the 4 Club. One of them has been a food drive. Together, as classrooms, we have collected 515 pounds or a quarter ton of food that we have donated to the EHS food pantry as well as the Loaves and Fishes food pantry here in Ellsworth. We have also collected and put together 3 Thanksgiving meals and delivered them to 3 very grateful families here in Ellsworth. The meals baskets were stocked with everything from the turkey all the way to the cranberry sauce and delicious pies.
And now we'd like to introduce Kayla Bagley to talk about some of the initiatives she's doing in the 6th grade. And so, would you guys introduce yourselves?
I'm Kayla Bagley, and I'm in 6th grade.
I'm Steven Faulkner, and I'm in 6th grade.
So, for the month of January, we're going to be doing a different random act of kindness for each day of the month. And some examples are, on Wednesday the 8th, it would be leave a positive note in a locker. Or on the 14th, encourage others to do well in school. Or on the 22nd, make someone laugh. Or on the 31st, don't assume the worst. So it would be every grade, 5th through 8th, every classroom would be doing something different, and they would have different ones for each day. And every student would try and do that thing on that day.
we've put together a slideshow that shows the climate that's going on in our school. And so you'll see slides that go through what the 4 clubs, the Ambassadors Club, and also we did a survey last week and surveyed the 5th through 8th grade students and asked them one word that describes how they feel the school has changed. And the last slide represents their thoughts and their voices, which is what we're looking for. So make sure I can get the volume up. And that's the visual representation of 305 responses. As your EMS community. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. So as you can see, these two leadership groups are having a tremendous impact on our school. As a principal, I'm super proud of all the work that they're doing, and what they're doing is having a ripple effect. Students are feeling empowered to come and have a voice at our school. Even students who may not be a part of either of these clubs have come to me with ideas of how they can make our school better. So they're certainly having that ripple effect and impacting our other students as well. And their voices are being heard clearly. So they're doing an awesome job, and I'm super proud of them. Thank you.
And I need to let them know how proud I am, but also to let them know that the work that you're doing is also having a ripple effect and affecting our community. And that's absolutely fabulous, because you are making changes with our entire community, not just within your school.
Yes, thank you.
Any questions? Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
On my phone.
Erica? Yeah. I haven't seen her since she had the baby. Thank you. I haven't seen her since she had a baby. I haven't seen her since she had a baby just a couple months ago.
What an amazing change she's made in her life.
Yeah.
Since I first met her.
Yeah, I know.
Started working at Fans all those years ago.
That was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
She was one of the first employees.
Item E, communications and correspondence.
There are 3 letters of retirement and/or resignation that I will circulate and I will address in my report.
Thank you. Item F, public participation.
I don't think there's any tonight.
Item G, administrative board reports. Mrs. Wright?
Good evening. I am representing Mr. Clifford this evening, and I believe you received his report. The production of The Addams Family is going on at Ellsworth High School and is going very well. There is a great cast of students, and we have that show going on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night this week at 7 p.m. And I encourage, Mr. Markosian's already seen it. Good show, right?
Yes.
Jen, right, excellent, right?
Yep.
Worth going to.
I'm planning on seeing it again this coming weekend.
Oh, excellent. Great show. We got really good review in the paper today as well.
Oh, good.
So.
Well deserved.
Also, we have the Student of the Month Assembly in November that we had, recognized the October and the November students. The EHS Student of the Month was Connor Crawford for October. The VPA Student of the Month for October was Ian Brennan Simpson. And we have a Rachel's Challenge Student of the Month as well, somebody who is nominated by their peers for exhibiting the characteristics of Rachel's Challenge and the premises that were going on, and that was Lillian Frank. For November, the EHS Student of the Month is Allison Robbins. VPA Student of the Month, Michaela Seavey, and the Rachel's Challenge Student of the Month was Rachel Barnes. Mr. Clifford also announced and handed out our honor roll with many, many students on it, which was very exciting to see, I have to say. And a couple other things that I wanted to mention was our sports season has begun, and there's games going on this evening. I believe there's games Thursday night and Tuesday and Thursday next week. Am I right? I think so.
Tomorrow night, too.
I think, yeah, we have a lot going on. Our Friends of Rachel Club is sponsoring a toy drive right now, going on through the rest of this week. As well as next Tuesday, we'll be having an activities fair for the first time, which Mr. Frost is organizing with the 4 Club, and it'll be going on during the day. And it's so that those students who aren't active in any of our activities, sometimes they don't even know what's being offered at the school. So this is an activities fair for in-house, for the other students, hopefully, to be interested, to have something catch their eye, to find out that, hey, I could go do that, I could be in that group, and get more kids involved. Also, we're having a clothing drive that NHS is sponsoring, and I believe they have, for winter clothing, they have boxes around town, I think, as well as at the high school. So, next Thursday night is the Holiday Arts Festival, and at 5:30 is the art show begins, followed by at 7 p.m. the concert with the concert band and choir. Next week for us is also Spirit Week, so if you walk in and you see some crazy clothing, that's why. And we are also doing door decorating and some special activities next Friday. So that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Gavinelli?
Good evening again. The kids took most of my board reports. That's okay. I'll just reiterate a few things. Our 4 Club did an amazing job in November, raising 515 pounds of food that was donated to Loaves and Fishes, EHS, and HCTC. On November 25th and 26th, we had two really excellent days of professional development. We were able to hear from Erin Polanski, who is the author of Dolphins and Trees, who helped Mrs. Lewis and I kind of do our little skit with our staff at the beginning of the year, and that's how our motto kind of starts when me was born. So it was really nice to have him here and to hear his presentation on building relationships. And we also had Greg Marley from NAMI who came and spoke with our staff. as well. And our staff left feeling re-energized about the work that was done on these 2 days. It was amazing. The feedback I received has been extremely, extremely positive. So I want to thank Rachel for organizing the 2 days, the other administrators for their collaboration, and Mr. Higgins for his support in bringing these speakers to our district, because it was truly 2 days very well spent. Our student ambassadors, as you heard, are kicking off a lot of initiatives this month. Project Keep Warm, we are collecting new or like new scarves, mittens, hats that can be donated. So if you have any donations, please feel free to drop them off at school. We will gladly take them. We're doing a door decorating and a hallway decorating contest, and seasonal sweater day. So wear your ugliest or prettiest seasonal sweater. It's all in the eye of the beholder. But that's what we'll be doing on the PTF day as well. We just wrapped up our production of Aladdin, which was phenomenal. The kids did an amazing, amazing job. So that was a lot of fun to watch. The winter concert is tomorrow night at 6:30. So we're really looking forward to that. And show choir is underway, as well as winter sports. So we had games this evening against Bucksport, and I hear the girls did very well. The boys also did very well tonight, so that's a lot of fun. The annual gift giving day for PTF is December 18th. They are still looking for donations, so if anybody has any donations, again, new or like new used items, we would gladly take those donations. You can drop them off right in the office at EEMS. And if you have any questions, you can talk to Marty Huckins. She's kind of heading up all of that. And I want to give a huge thank you to our PTF. They have been and continue to be very generous in their support to all of our programs and initiatives, and it's so greatly appreciated, the work that that group does. They're a small group, but they're a mighty group, and they do a lot for our schools. So thank you very much to the PTF. Any questions? Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Lewis.
Thank you for being here tonight, staff. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. We're proud on a continuous basis of being associated with the Ellsworth School Department, but every time we have students presenting something that's happening here, it goes right to the soul of our values and our mission statement, and it's amazing. And they were so articulate. When we were in 8th grade, could we have talked about school climate? I mean, give me a break, I was in college. And there were, I've said this before, when the high school kids come up and they're getting an award for doing something over at the Jackson Lab, and I'm thinking, I must have been so immature. But these kids are amazing, clean, clear through. But you wouldn't see that if you didn't have a staff of adults and teachers, ed techs, cooks, everybody who's working with these kids and supporting that. And poor Erica's trying to hold back the tears tonight while she sees the growth and the change. And when kids tell you there's change, there's really change, because they don't make it up, and it's amazing. And I said, Erica, when she sat back down, you have to take some pride in your own work and being able to nurture that and create a climate where staff and students are so interactively working for the good of humanity. It's not just change our school, it's change our lives. We're living in a world that has an interesting climate and culture right now, but these kids are seeing something different, and they're seeing what part they can play in it, and it's a blessing for all of us. And it amazes me because, of course, I have the little kids, and these kids were kindergartners once too. And look at how they've grown, and look at how explicit they can be. So there are other people who, they talked a little bit about their hopes and dreams tonight for our school and our communities. But you all may know Harold Alphonse set up a Next Generation Fund so that every child in Maine who's born in Maine has the ability at this point in time to have access to funds that his foundation and the Finance Authority of Maine, who have joined together, will support. So I knew a little bit about this, and I got some communication. Evidently, I did some application last year. And it turns out that, well, if it says it's for kids or schools or free, I sign up, you know. And so it took me a little while to figure out why they sent us some information. But when I talked to them, they said, oh, yeah, you wrote a wonderful application. I said, oh, that's good. That's very good. And so what I put in front of you tonight and for the audience to see is that we received and not every school in Maine got it, but we received a Next Gen, we were selected, I should say, to promote Next Gen for our kindergarten students and families. And so they sent us, this is what came first. And I said to Mr. Higgins, no idea what this is all about. None, zero, nada. And it says, Invest in Maine Kindergarten. And I looked in it, and it gives a nice brochure of how you can open an account. And you can open it with $25, and you'll see when you read through, so I won't do the whole thing. But for the general public who's listening to this, all of our kindergarten parents will be receiving one of these bags. So when I tell you what's in it, you'll know what they're getting at parent conferences for kindergarten tomorrow night and Thursday night. And within the beautiful bag, they'll receive some information about how they can open an account, how it started, and a lovely postcard. It says, Invest in Me Kindergarten. Joan wants to be a doctor when she grows up. And other kids saying, when I grow up, I want to be. And I think that's just amazing. They also put in kindergarten parent tips for ways that kindergarten parents could explicitly, they said, ways you can help your kids. We're saying it all the time when it comes from somewhere else and it comes in a package. It's absolutely amazing. So when I called them and they told me what a great job I had done on this application, I said, and you sent us a check for $500. And they said, yes, that is so you can hold any parent event you would like to hold for kindergarten parents to support more education about this program and also whatever you're looking for in terms of parent education within your school. We have been talking since the beginning of the school year about getting more involvement, enhancing the information we share with parents. We're working collaboratively with the library to have open conversations about kids and families and parents and schools and how we really all work together. You hear the kids tonight, they're working and they see what the value is of that partnership, not just with each other, not just with their teachers, not just with their school, but with the community at large and life in general. So I wrote Fame a very, very nice thank you letter and asked him for a copy of the application. And so we will continue on, but parents will receive these packets tomorrow night and Thursday night, and we will continue with planning for Parent Education Night for kindergarten parents, not just about this, but about our school system. And what a wonderful thing for us to be able to know in our hearts and be able to say is that we have kids, our own kids, their own kids, our kids that belong to this community who already have the values of taking care of each other, making sure that they're supported, welcome, have a sense of belonging. And I think our collaborations have now extended to the Alphon Foundation and Maine DOE and Finance Authority of Maine. So I wanted you to know that. So, and Mr. Higgins, I will be proud to give you this check now that we know what it's for. And and again, at your leisure, please take a look at the information that parents will be getting from us. Anybody have any questions? It's just fun. It's just wonderful. Because if you're watching and you're looking, there are more people who want to help public education than we can believe. And when we open our doors, take the bricks out of the wall, people come in, we reach out, and it all works. So thanks for letting me be here and have all this fun.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Bowles?
Good evening. If you recall, back in September, we talked a little bit about how Skills USA this year, every year Skills has to raise an exorbitant amount of money, but we really wanted to focus in December on giving back and doing some community-oriented things rather than our typical fundraiser. So starting in November, we had our Boggy Brook 5K, and although that is one of our fundraisers, it's a huge community event. It's one that we take a lot of pride in because it is on our road near our school, which a lot of people surprisingly still don't know where it is. We had a lot of runners, and our media students did all of the advertising, the designing of the t-shirts, the designing of the graphics for the flyers. So they were very involved in that, and my whole staff was there for that event. And then also in the month of December, we've been giving back. We've had doing food drives for our food pantry as well. Our National Technical Honor Society students volunteered for the poinsettia ball and helped with all of the decorating at the Ramada Inn to get ready for that event. And for the first time, we participated in the parade this past weekend. It's the first time we've done it. I want to give kudos to my early childhood teacher, Megan Stubbs, who really spearheaded that and felt very passionately about us being involved and getting out there in the community. We had 2 of our students be asked to be the ambassadors of the parade, so they were at the front and they were quite excited about it. And then we had our float go through, and we were amazed by how many people made comments about how wonderful it was that we were there this year. So that will definitely be an annual event for my staff. I also wanted to update you. We've talked a little bit about how we're expanding our internship program and our biomedical program. So what I've done is listed for you the 7 internships that students have been accepted for. What I don't think people realize is that the biomedical program is very far-reaching and incorporates a lot of different career pathways for students. So I kind of wanted to highlight very quickly that piece for you. Stephanie Trowbridge is interning with Dr. Munir Hasham at Jackson Lab. If you recall, he had Riley Grindle last year. He so loved his work with our student that he took another intern this year, and she's studying cancer therapeutics. Taylor Richardson is at EES at the elementary school, working with a variety of teachers on how science is integrated into curriculum at the early childhood level. Noah Scholes is interning at the small animal clinic with a veterinarian, observing surgeries and animal care. Christian Winslow began this week at Craig Brook National Fish Hatchery, working with fish and looking at the biology of that. Jaden Cummings is working with a dietitian at Northern Light Hospital. Marissa Havey is beginning her internship with a physical therapist at Seaport. Stephanie Newell will start an internship with a medical assistant at Primary Health. And both Marissa and Stephanie are working on different components of internship hours and specific things they want to focus on for their programs they're applying for in college. So sometimes people think that biomedical is very specific to science research, and that is a part of it. It absolutely is a part of it, but there are a lot of pathways that kids can go into by taking the biomedical program at HCTC, and I think the variety of internships definitely demonstrates that. We did receive our middle school grant again this year. We just found out we received about $17,000, which is a substantial amount of money for us to service the 28 middle schools in Hancock County. We will begin with our 6th grade tours in January and inviting all 6th graders from across Hancock County to HCTC. And this year, for the first time, we're going to use some of the money to do a middle school career fair that will include a scavenger hunt for kids grades 5 through 8. So we're going to begin working on organizing that in partnership and collaboration with the Chamber of Commerce. So that'll be, I'm hoping, an event that goes well that we can do annually. Jackson Lab and Eastern Maine Community College and myself have been meeting almost every 6 weeks, I would say, and talking about partnerships and pathways as Jackson Lab expands into their Ellsworth facility and looking at the number of workforce opportunities there are. How can our 3 institutions come together and create clearer and cleaner pathways for people and really help people understand the amazing opportunities that are available at Jackson Lab, whether they come to HCTC or use adult ed as a pathway. How can we come together? We've started really working on looking at curriculum and how we can better integrate the community college, and a possible associate's degree as a pathway, because we do have students who want to go to a 4-year science degree program, but we also have kids who would like an associate's degree program, and right now that doesn't really exist in the state of Maine for a kind of more of an entry level. So that's what we're currently working on, is how can we build something unique for our area between our 3 institutions. As those details come to fruition, we'll be presenting that to the HCTC Advisory Board and then here as well. Our annual equipment grant, I say annual, this is, I believe, the 3rd year that we have been given a grant application cycle to apply for designated funds through the state of Maine that is for career and technical education equipment. This money has to be spent on updating equipment in CTE schools that align to industry standards. Standards that either you are currently not meeting or standards that you could meet in a better way should you have different equipment or updated equipment. So our allotment for this year's grant application cycle is $63,800 because of our increased enrollment. So the turnaround for this is quick. We have to apply by January 2nd. And submit what we would use the funds for, and then we have until June 30th to expend that money. So we're very grateful to have that opportunity. Finally, everyone asks, when's your holiday buffet? The holiday buffet is next Wednesday from 11:30 to 1:30. For the first time, we are not taking reservations, so I want to kind of put that out to the community. The reason for that is people would make reservations and oftentimes either not come on time or not bring the correct number of people they said, and then we have people standing in line waiting. So it is going to be first come, first serve, but we will not sit people until 11:30, and we'll serve for that 2 hours or until people stop coming. And as always, we'll have our gingerbread houses on display for people to see and vote on and have a fabulous meal. It's a wonderful day for our kids. I highly recommend if you can come to be there. If you can't come and sit, we do takeout on buffet day. We have to-go containers, and you can go through the buffet line, fill your container and go if that's helpful. And we still do takeout. But restaurant is open tomorrow, so you could come tomorrow for our weekly meal, but the buffet is on the 18th. Any questions?
The menu tomorrow looks good.
The menu tomorrow looks very good.
Thinking
I got
about
to
that ravioli.
possibly taste that ravioli.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really good. It's really, really good. He made everything
And-
from scratch.
Yep, and then there's also the petite tender steak
Yes.
and
I like
ham.
it. And I like that you've
Baked ham.
memorized the menu, Paul. That's impressive.
It's the highlight of my week.
I know, yours and Kathy's. It's yours and Kathy's every week.
And Jimmy James asked me about it every week too. So. He's going to be there tomorrow.
I'm sure he is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Rachel.
Good evening. As Erica referred to, on Monday, November 25th, during our professional development days, we hosted Aaron Polanski, a seasoned educator and speaker who focused on connection with students in our schools. He was warmly received, and teachers gave wonderful feedback in each of their buildings about the value of his time with us. The response to his presentation in a post-program survey, which I just reread earlier today after we had everybody's in, was overwhelmingly enthusiastic and clearly had an impact on the Ellsworth School Department faculty. Several of us have heard from even our veteran staff, especially our veteran staff, who said that it was some of the best funds we had spent in professional development in their memory. So we're really pleased that it had such a resonating impact with so many people. And as I had said last month, we were really grateful to Kathy and Erica for telling us about him and having us learn more about him and inviting him to come. Greg Marley from the National Alliance on Mental Illness in Maine then provided workshops to each of our grade levels throughout the day on creating a safer school district, supporting our students and each other during challenging times, and continuing to provide a safe, welcoming environment to our community. He too was appreciated for his expertise and insight. One of the things that I'm making a stronger effort to do is make sure that we're surveying teachers after each of these events to get their input, their feedback, get their ideas about future events, and really make sure that the professional development that we're bringing to the school district is what people need. And so having that reflection for me and for the rest of the leadership has been very useful, I think, in helping us decide who we're inviting. On Tuesday, the next day, Joe Schmidt, social studies specialist from the Department of Education, worked with all social studies teachers in the district for the day and becoming familiar with and aligning our instruction for next year to the newly crafted social studies main learning results. It was a productive day that helped teachers think about additional resources they will need, additional professional development, and time to plan new units. He is particularly someone who has come relatively recently to the DOE and is highly skilled, and is also, I think, teachers found to be extremely entertaining and knowledgeable at the same time. And I think that from the feedback that I got from teachers, they really felt that the work that they did really helped them understand the standards better. It was also nice to see the entire social studies faculty in the school district come together, K-12, and have really good conversations. There was a lot of intermingling between them, and so that you could really get a sense of what an Ellsworth student would learn in social studies throughout their entire career here. And so it was great to see kindergarten teachers talking to high school teachers and, seeing where it starts and where they leave before they go off into the world. And I think we had developed a mission and vision this summer for our social studies students about wanting to help them develop citizenship skills, but also to include some of the new pieces of the standards like personal finance, helping our kids be ready for the world and being able to get a mortgage and being able to buy a boat and being able to find their home and finance school and be able to be literate in financial issues, which was also one of the things that we learned about when we did our community survey, that people were really hoping that we could support kids in that way. So it was heartening to be able to have those conversations and think about how those new pieces will be integrated into our curriculum in the coming year. We're really grateful to all of our speakers for their time and for sharing their work with us. For future professional development, in January, a coach from Heinemann will be working with our kindergarten through third grade teachers to support them and follow up on previous training we had for the first year of the phonics and word study program. This was a program that was done many, many, many years ago and has been revamped and is an excellent way of aligning our phonics program so that it's explicit and helps kids get the skills they need. We had some training last year, but we now will have a coach come and spend 2 full days with our teachers. They'll be going from classroom to classroom, demonstrating some lessons for them, asking them for their feedback. Our teachers said, the first thing we want is to give them our list of questions, because after they've used the program for 6 months, they're looking forward to being able to have someone on site and ask questions about how things are done and the best way to do things. So we're looking forward to that. So she'll be going back and forth to the classrooms. She'll be observing, providing teachers with feedback firsthand, as well as meeting with teachers to answer their questions. Any questions for me?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Higgins.
Good evening, members of the board. I want to touch briefly on the November Staff Professional Development Days, although Ms. Gabinelli and Mrs. Corman-Ramos did talk a little bit about the speakers. Just want to reiterate with regard to Erin Polanski. One of the things that I really noticed was, in addition to being engaging, meaningful, and powerful, a lot of the things that he talked about, if you go and visit our schools, some of the things he talked about that he has done with his story are things that our staff members are already doing. So I found it to be very reaffirming to the fact that the people that we have in our schools working with our kids are doing the right things. Not a surprise, it's just very reaffirming. Also, when you go to professional development presentations, oftentimes there are a few people, and I kidded Mrs. Stackpole when she was here earlier about sitting in the back of the room. Yeah. There are times that not everybody is fully engaged. Mm-hmm. When you looked around the audience when Mr. Polanski was speaking, everybody was engaged. And even though Rachel took my comment, it's a little bit of a quiz for board members with regard to, it's okay, with regard to the value of the money that was expended on Mr. Polanski. It's one of our longtime teachers who taught about 40 years, who retired and now works with us again, that was a teacher and coach of mine when I was a middle school student. I was coming back to the office and he jumped out of his vehicle and said, "Hey, Mr. Higgins." Now that's a twist. That's some of the best money you guys have ever spent. And I thought that spoke volumes. So it certainly was a valuable 2 days. Would like to speak briefly about the Lunchbox Program. In particular, on behalf of the school department and our students in need, to thank the very generous people who listened to our call at the last meeting for a number of our families who are in need, students who are in need, with the opportunity to donate to that fund that will help those students. A number of very generous people sent very sizable donations, to which we very much appreciate. And just to let people know that there's no time limit on when you can donate. We still have a lot of families and kids in need. We certainly would accept any further donations to help out. But again, thank you very much to those of you who have already answered the call and shown your kindness and generosity. With regard to HCTC, a note to the board and also to the members of the public, the HCTC Facility Study Feasibility Steering Committee. I think it's easier to say that than the acronym. Met on December 2nd and 5th and conducted interviews with 4 firms who submitted responses to the request for qualifications to conduct a feasibility study for a new and/or potentially renovated HCTC. The interview sessions went extremely well, and the committee will be reconvening in the next week or so to review the interviews and related information and start moving towards what we hope is a recommendation to the City Council. And Mrs. Thomas, Mr. Markosian, I know you serve on that committee. If there's anything you'd like to add, I will gladly donate part of my time for my report. We'll yield the floor. And if not, that's okay.
No, it's been a very interesting process, and we look forward to what's coming next.
I think it's going to be very exciting.
Yep.
Since our last meeting, we've hired a number of new staff. You know, if you noticed, over the past couple of months, we had a number of changes in our custodial and maintenance department. You'll see Mr. Turnbull has been busy. We have hired 4 new custodians. We have Cody Wiseman, who will be working at EEMS on the 3rd shift. Janine Curtis will be working at EHS on the 2nd shift. Josh Balarjon will be working on the 2nd shift at Ellsworth High School, and Jeremy Dickinson, custodian on the 3rd shift at Ellsworth High School. And that gets our custodial department up to full staffing, which I know Chuck is very happy to see. Had some letters of resignation and retirement, which I believe I've circulated 3 of the 4 that we had. Hannah Bailey at Ed Tech at EEMS has accepted a teaching position in another district. Dwayne Crawford, longtime EHS varsity football coach, has retired from that position. Roger Keene, longtime school department bus driver, has retired.
Yeah, long time.
Quinn's losing
Long
the bus.
time. And I'm negotiating with the last one. I have a letter of retirement. I think it's retirement from Kathy Lewis, and just let you know, I'm negotiating with her right now on whether we're going to accept that or not. And as an aside, Mrs. Lewis, I will work with you in instigating an investigation to see if we can find out where that application for the FAME and Alfond.
Just enjoy the money, you know?
Okay. And to close my report, you know, as you saw tonight with the number of students and staff who presented, and you know, that was in the middle level. You know, Mrs. Lewis had students and staff from the elementary level last month. In previous meetings, we have had Mrs. Corman Ramos and some students in Title I staff, Mrs. Bowles recognizing some of the students at HCTC, Mr. Clifford and Mrs. Wright representing students from the high school. You know, I think we're all in amazement but not surprised at the wonderful things that we know that our students are doing. The one thing that I want to take the opportunity to do is just to reiterate what Mrs. Lewis said and take the opportunity to express our appreciation to all the members of our staff across the board in every department for the outstanding and incredible things they do with kids. I mean, we see what the kids can do, as evidenced here tonight and other nights, and the kids are responsible for a lot of that, but that doesn't happen without an incredible and quality staff. So I just want to speak very publicly as we approach school vacation about how wonderful a job you guys do. Thank you very much. And that concludes my report, unless you have any questions. Because I have answers. Okay.
H, committee reports. None. There's no old business, so under new business, item 2, because item 1 was this presentation. Item 2 is discussion and consideration of overnight out-of-state travel. And I believe that is Ms. Ireland.
Hello. Thank you for having me tonight. I am here to talk about a proposal for basically what is actually the reinstatement of the New York City trip. This had previously been done under the guise of Drama Club for many, many years, and then that moved toward the Florida trip with the show choir. So with me in this new position, or me new to this position, I really am interested in getting the kids back to New York City. So it's an outstanding opportunity for theater students to experience the highest quality performances, work with industry professionals, visit colleges, and deepen their understanding of all facets of the performing arts. In addition to this, they will be immersed in the cultural diversity and urban setting of New York City, where many of them will attend school or pursue careers in the future. A wide breadth of opportunities to visit art museums, opera houses, Broadway theaters, and cultural institutions like Lincoln Center and Empire State Building are provided in this itinerary. And as a little aside, I attended this trip twice, I think, when I was in high school, and it was really life-changing for me. It truly is kind of why I ended up on the path that I ended up on and spent many years in New York City, and now I'm bringing that back. So I'd really love to be able to give kids that opportunity. We've been speaking with the folks at EF Tours, who is the company that also does the Europe trip, the Galapagos trip, so we know they have a great track record. I attended the Europe trip last year, and it was a really positive experience, well organized, so I have reached out to them. We would like to go during April vacation. They wouldn't miss any school for this trip. We're looking at the 19th to the 24th. The price with EF Tours is amazing because it includes basically everything with the exception of what they want to spend on knickknacks and gifts, and their lunches. Breakfast is provided, dinner is provided, all the gratuities are provided. It's all covered in that cost. We sort of are always ongoing fundraising. We knew we were going to take some trips, so we've sort of just continued. Some students had already done some fundraisers to go toward Florida, so we would simply reallocate what they had raised already for the price of this trip. As far as the students that we're opening it up to, the cost is based on 20 students. We could certainly take more than that if we got the interest. That would be great. We've opened it up to the International Thespian Society first. Most of those, because that way you're going to hit most of the kids who are VPA Academy members concentrating in theater dance. If we don't have 20 out of that group, we would then open it to the Triam Music Society, then NAHS. Beyond that, any VPA Academy student. So it's certainly going to be wide open to those kids who would like to attend. In preparing them, I'll have several meetings talking about how New York City works and exactly how that goes. But again, it's a city I'm very comfortable in and very familiar with. So I'm pretty confident about being able to maneuver them throughout Manhattan. I certainly would ask them in evaluating to come back. I'd like to give them the opportunity I activated someone's Siri. Give them the opportunity to present to you, if that would be of interest to you. Certainly to our boosters who have been very, very supportive in helping us organize this. And what would this look like and what would that look like? And to the other students who might potentially take this trip in the future. I provided the itinerary, that's here. The cost does look a little daunting on paper perhaps, but if you look at this itinerary, it's really incredible. There's no way that a student or a student's family would ever be able to put this kind of package together at this kind of price. So they do walking tours of Fifth Avenue, Rockefeller Center, Bryant Park. They go up the Empire State Building at night. They meet a Broadway professional. They have a workshop with a Broadway professional. They'll see 2 Broadway shows. They see the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Central Park. They will tour Lincoln Center, which includes the Met Opera House, New York State Theater, and Avery Fisher Hall. They see, it's just so many things. They do walking tours of all the different areas in Manhattan. They do Greenwich, they do Soho, all that. We tour NBC Studios or Rockefeller Center. I have some dancers who are pretty obsessed with getting back to those Rockettes. And we did choose the 6-day tour. If this is approved, we expressed interest in that so that they would also see the Museum of Modern Art, which is pretty cool. So, for chaperones, I know it's preferred that there are a male-female chaperone. I would be the female in this situation. And Cameron Wright, who is the music director for show choir in the fall musical, has agreed that he would go as the male chaperone. I invited our music teacher to do so, and he is unable to attend during that time. I think that's probably enough from me. Oh, one last thing. We did forego, in the itinerary, it mentions a day at Ellis Island, and I spoke to the person that I've been working with at EF Tours, and we actually are very fortunate that Mr. Calandro and I, several of us have connections with folks in New York City. I have friends that work in admissions at NYU, at Pace, at New School, and EF Tours, because we requested a custom tour, they would leave us about a half a day so that we could take those students on those college tours, and they could actually go see those campuses and what does an urban campus look like, and go kind of tour some of those departments. We also have a couple of folks through the Educational Theater Association, and professionals that I worked with in New York who are willing to see what they can do to get us some backstage tours. So some very cool things that are on the possibilities list. So, are there any questions?
No, but it sounds like an amazing.
It's pretty
I don't know
exciting.
what I'm doing April vacation, but.
Oh, well, and that's a good point too. Come along.
It sounds wonderful.
Yeah, are you going to be including a visit to Yankee Stadium? Because that's
Why would you?
That's an important question.
Yeah.
That's
If I
gonna-
have my way with it. Absolutely,
well, never
absolutely. I'm not sure I really want to take them into the Bronx.
Oh, it's fine.
It's the new stadium now, though. It's not
Yeah.
quite as bad. So, we can see what we can do
Sounds
about it.
amazing.
I have several parents of students as well who are also ESD employees who are interested in traveling with us. So we would have a good little crew, I think, to
Good.
look out for.
All right. Make a motion to approve VPA overnight out-of-state trip to New York City as presented.
Second. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
All right.
Thank you.
Have fun.
Slides.
Item
Slideshow
3,
when she gets back.
consideration of teacher nominations.
Seems an odd time of year to be doing teacher nominations. However, very pleased to bring 2 of them forward to you this evening, positions that we've been looking to fill since last spring. First one I'd like to put forward as a nomination. I was unable to be here tonight. Would like to nominate to you for a speech pathologist position, speech language pathologist position at EMS and EHS, Nicole Donnelly. She was recommended by the building level committee for this position based upon a strong academic record and preparation, a wide variety of clinical practicum experiences, and very strong references. She's well versed in her content and specialty area, and with support, the committee believes that she'll be a solid addition to the EMS EHS faculty. And again, finding a speech and language person at any time is difficult, let alone this time of year. So very pleased to make that nomination to you for a first-year probationary contract.
Recommend we accept the superintendent's nomination of Nicole Donnelly as grade 5 through 12 speech and language pathologist for the Ellsworth School Department with a first-year probationary contract for the 2019-2020 school year.
Second that.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Excellent, thank you. And our other nominee is here this evening. Would like to nominate to you Megan Curtis for the grade 5 classroom teaching vacancy at EEMS. Mrs. Curtis was recommended also by the building level committee for this vacancy based upon her successful experience student teaching in grade 5 at EMS this fall. She's been there for, 14, 15 weeks now, just coming towards the conclusion of that. Yeah. The team found her to have a solid handle on proficiency-based models, assessment, and RTI, and in developing a positive rapport with students, parents, and staff. And again, with the support, the committee believes that she will be a strong addition to the faculty at EEMS, so I am pleased to nominate her also for a first-year probationary contract for the 1920 school year.
I move that we accept the superintendent's nomination of Megan Curtis as a grade 5 teacher at EEMS for the 2019-2020 school year.
Second that. Somebody second it, I missed it.
Abby did.
Abby, okay. So sorry. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Congratulations.
Welcome aboard.
Item K, calendar and announcements. The next school board workshop to be determined.
Well, I know Teresa sent out a message to everyone today, and I saw a couple of responses, but I don't know if everyone has had a chance to respond yet, so.
Okay. And the next school board meeting is Tuesday, January 14th, 2020, City Hall Council Chambers at 6:30.
Wow, 2020.
2020.
And you did that pretty well, not slipping back into 2019.
And item L is adjournment.
Having no further business, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
And the time, Mr. Marcosian? Please.
7:41.
And thank you.